And I think we're live. Hi, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me and see me clearly. Earlier today, I had some issues with the sound, so hopefully, everyone can hear me clearly. I will just wait for a moment to see if there is anyone that could give feedback. Let me check in the Facebook group if it's streaming properly. If not, I'm going to share the video, the live stream video. Okay, let's check. Okay, I think we have someone joining in. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, I see. Hey, Ivy, from a mystery Facebook user. Can you please allow Wave Video access to your Facebook account so I could see your name? And so please let me know if you can hear and see me clearly. Thank you. Okay, we will give it a minute. Okay, I see we have 2 viewers already, so that's awesome. Just to make sure everybody can hear me clearly, just let me know in the comments if you can hear and see me clearly. Oh, okay, it's okay, Emma. It's good to know. Thank you. So right under the event page, there is a little link that says allow Wave Video access to my account. Oh, you have, right? But it's not showing up. It's okay. I know it's you. Thank you, and thank you for letting me know that you can actually hear me. Okay, welcome to today's live webinar on, let me share screen just a little bit, on trial classes. And okay, I'm going to share the entire screen or maybe just a tab. Yeah, just give me a second to set this up. Okay, and we're good to go. Okay, now it's better. Yeah, you can see and hear me. Thank you. And thanks for the patience. We're a little bit late today due to tech setup. But yeah, here we go. Welcome to our today's live webinar or on trial classes for success. And I named this session as in 3 phases we're going to go through. And this is the prep phase for trial class preparation, then engagement during the trial class itself, and then convert. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivy, and I've been teaching online since 2016. And since 2 years ago, I started teaching independently. Before that, I was teaching with a lot of ESL companies, mainly teaching children, such as Dada, GoGo Kid, Nova Kid, and so on. I did teach adults as well for a short period of time, yeah, but I focus on teaching children. Yeah, this is my kind of niche or focus. And I'm also founder of SuperTeacher, but today we're gonna focus on something else. Can you let me know in the comments if you have been teaching with a company before? I think this is important, especially for today's topic, which is teaching trial classes successfully. Like, did you have any experience within companies teaching trial classes? Just let me know in the comments. And also, if you do teach independently at the moment or you're just starting and looking for students. And this is important because for us who do have experience teaching with online ESL companies, we know what it took the companies to actually get to the student, have them in our trial class, and what the clear expectations of the trial classes were. And I think this is a great experience if you do have it. If not, we're just going to run through it real quickly so everybody is on the same page. So, what it actually takes to teach a successful trial class. It's not just to show up and be there the same way as in any regular class, but it's very specific compared to your regular teaching. So with ESL companies, we did get students, right? Students base was provided, but the negative side of that, or the con, is that we could not niche down, or we couldn't even say no to a child class student or even any student, right? So that meant that you will have to go with the flow and teach whoever shows up to class, which is different when you teach independently. When it comes to lesson material, it was already made. There were trial class lessons specific for the first time classes, and but the cons to that was that they were not personalized. So again, you would just have to go with what you have. When it comes to learning environment, everything was taken care of, right? Beginning from like starting from the lesson, then the classroom, the environment, the overall learning environment was all set. And cons to that was the companies were very specific when it comes to tech requirements you had to meet to have a certain device, a pair of headphones, internet speed, and so on. And the pay with trial classes was very different. I've taught with companies that didn't even pay for trial classes, then those who did pay like 20% if it was a no show, 50% if it was a regular class, and if converted, many companies did have some kind of a bonus. Cons to that is that the child class actually attendance rate was unpredictable. So you wouldn't know. You would just waste your time waiting for the student to show up, and yeah, and if they will convert later on, right? So that's also different. But it's good to know compared to your independent teaching business. When it comes to skill for teaching trial classes, many companies did offer professional development opportunities such as teacher trainings, meetups, coffee chats, and so on. And when it comes to skills, the expectations were pretty much set high. And there is actually within companies a lot of micromanagement, meaning you have to be very careful with the way you dress, like if you can wear a t-shirt or not, if you can have tattoos or not, about your classroom background. So everything was supposed to be and is supposed to be like 100% following their policy. When it comes to communication with trial classes, with companies, we should get sorry, child class student showing up for the class. So the parents would communicate with the company, and there was no communication allowed between teachers and parents. And compared to independent teaching, that's a great opportunity for us to actually meet the student, learn a little bit more about them before the class itself. When it comes to commercial focus or the student base, companies usually did have global reach. And that also meant that there was a lot of pressure on us as teachers, right? If you remember, or if you're new to that, like, yeah, there was a lot of pressure to convert. And you would get regular evaluations, especially for the trial classes, and the policy was even more harsh compared to regular classes. Let me see. Okay, we have a few comments. Thank you. Let's see. Mm. I've just done loads of child classes with the company I'm with. Finally, they're now giving me regular courses. Amazing. Yeah, so the child classes were also kind of eliminatory, right? And they should show us in the best way possible, like to feature ourselves within the child class. And it was, in some companies, it was even a privilege, right? To teach trial classes. Sometimes, if they assess that we were not very good in converting students, they would never, fill up our schedule and just keep us with the regular students. Thank you for that. Great, great comment. I think Emma said, or another Mr. user says, they have taught with VIP Kids, Zebra English, Campbell Kids. So that's really good. This is so important for you going forward as an independent teacher to have that experience from the trial class. Amazing. Now, when it comes to teaching trial class independently, there are many ways in which it is different, right? So we're not going to talk about how to even get to the trial class. We actually talked about that 2 weeks ago, how to reach your students and how to convert them into paying students. So maybe you can check that mini course. I can share the link for. But basically, the biggest pro is that you can niche down. So not everybody that reaches out to you and wanting trial class is your client, right? Also, it depends on your goals and where you're at the moment with your independent teaching business. If your schedule is almost full, you have only a few class slots to fill in, then you can have more freedom to say no to students, or if you see that they're not going to be a perfect fit based on the student or parents actually expectations, you can just pass the student to your teacher friend or just say no and wish them luck, right? When it comes to curriculum, I think that's the best thing about teaching independently is you can be very flexible and you can personalize the learning experience. And that can be the main selling point when teaching independently, right? For the child class here is very important to allow yourself to decide on the curriculum. I've heard of many teacher friends saying the parent would reach out and they would say, "Oh, I want my student to learn, follow the Reach Higher curriculum or National Geographic, something like that." So it's very important to set the expectations from the get go. You should go forward and say, "Don't worry, I will assess your students' needs and offer a lesson plan and dynamics of future classes. But we're going to use my lesson of choice because it's very good to assess the student. It's very interactive and just have them experience that from the get go." Because if you do allow them to decide on the curriculum and everything, they're just going to be upping the expectations from you, the requirements, the requests, and everything is going to go kind of not the way you would like to, and you would feel like teaching for a company again, right? Or for somebody. The cons to that is additional cost. However, there are a lot of options there, and some of them even have a free forever plan, like Abridge Academy. So you can just sign up for the curriculum of your choice to begin with, get access to a few lessons, and use them in child class, which I highly recommend. And once you also get familiar with the curriculum, get the parent feedback on it, then you can subscribe once they decide to follow you. Here I would also add a tip on if the parents are insisting, on a particular curriculum, you can just pass the cost of that curriculum to them. So if they do want you to prepare their child for using Reach Higher, for example, ask them to purchase the books and share them with you, or just purchase the license for you, right? So that shouldn't be something that, because uh, however many students we have, each and every one of them can have different requirements, and you are going to go into burnout financially or with prep time. So you should be in charge with the curriculum. When it comes to the learning environment, uh, the pros of teaching independently is that you can adjust everything to that specific student. And that means, thanks to gathering some information before the class time from the parent, for example, or the student if they're adults, you can adjust the learning environment. And we're going to talk about it more when discussing the child class itself. The cons to that is it requires additional prep time. However, in time, you can actually kind of prepare, well, everything you prepare you can actually use it later. If you have two students interested in basketball and you prepared a classroom background or some reward systems on basketball, you can of course use it later on. So it's not like you're reinventing your teaching tools and props every time, but you can actually gather them and create your own little library. When it comes to pay, you can ask for a full class price, or you can decide on your child class policy however you want, right? Some teachers do offer free child classes, that can be interesting when you want to grow your student base, or if you do want offer a group session that could be free, and that can help you gather more student leads and reach out later for offering them one-on-one classes. And the concept is that the pay is up to parents, so they would have to accept your prices later on, or even decide if they do want to pay for a child class or not. Paid child classes for at least 50% of your regular price is always the better option, because you avoid the window shoppers, child class shoppers, who are only looking to for adding a free class for their student. Let me check the comments. This is true. Someone says this is true. Mhm. I'm guessing we're talking about the way we should enforce our policies from the get-go. Thank you. Okay, when it comes to skills, you have the liberty to be very niche focused. For example, if you do get a student who wants um, test prep, and you do not cover that, you can either decide to invest in yourself, take a training on how to prepare students for specific tests, or you can just stay niche focused and say, okay, I can offer you that, but I can offer you this. When it comes to communication, it's amazing that you have direct communication with the parents or the students. That can be time consuming, but it's part of our job, right? And when it comes to burnout, teaching independently can take a lot of admin work and management. So you have to make sure you make things easier on yourself in that regard as well. Okay, let's look into the child class itself. So before, as we could see, within companies, a lot of things were already taken care of for us before the child class, right? From curriculum to the student to the learning environment. And now, when you find yourself teaching independently, you have to figure out your niche. I won't go into that. There are a lot of amazing resources and teacher trainings on that. Maybe if you need some recommendation, I will be happy to share. But depending on what you teach, this is going to influence on your child class preparation as well. So there are a few phases to prepare while preparing for the child class, right? Because before child class, you have already established communication with the parent. You are discussing the class time, and then this is your opportunity to share an onboarding questionnaire we talked about 2 weeks ago, and I'm just going to show you quickly how it looks and works. And this is very useful because you can gather some personal information about the student, their preferences, and anything you need to prepare for the class even better. So I will just share my whole screen so you can see that. At the moment, I am sharing the whole screen. Okay, already. Perfect. Let's see if you can see the questionnaire. Just let me know if you can see that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So just before the child class, once the parent reaches out to you, you can ask them about the student's name, age, gender, their favorite activities, toys, cartoons, so you could prepare the reward system and the classroom environment. You can ask for their contact email for further communication, and ask for the parents' hopes and goals from learning with you. And here you will already know what you have to do during even the trial class, right? If the parent is saying the student is just beginning and they don't have any experience learning English, then it's going to make it easier for you to pick the right lesson for the child class. If they want to focus on correcting grammar more or speaking skills, that's what you're going to focus on during the child class as well. So child class is not about teaching the student what you have planned for with the lesson of your choice. It's about meeting the goals and expectations from the parent, plus making the student feel relaxed, welcome, and happy to engage in the class. and come back. You can also check all the technical requirements and setup that the parent has or the student has, what device they're using, and what they have available at home, as well as the internet browser, if that's relevant to your the classroom of your choice. This is super important to share. You can just ask them in WeChat or any way you communicate with them, or share this little onboarding questionnaire that many teachers find very useful. And this is like more than 50% of job well done. Okay, somebody's saying, I can see the screen. Emma says, I can see the screen. Sorry, I don't know why I can't get my name to show. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry, Emma. I know it's you. Yeah, I just, maybe I can just show you where to look for it. But yeah, maybe it's just kind of disconnected, or maybe refresh the page. Maybe you can try that. Um, Thank you for not giving up on it and letting me know that it's you. Um, okay, so we talked about the onboarding questionnaire, which is something, by the way, that companies did, and we didn't know anything about it because they used to reach out to parents, market to them, and once they signed up, they would usually have either an onboarding call with them, with their local representative, or they would share a questionnaire like, what would you like to get from signing up with our company. And then the companies would also look for teachers that can meet those goals. The way they picked us specifically for their trial class was was in direct connection to the parents' expectations. So, meaning if the parent was asked, what kind of teacher are you looking for? They would say, I would like to have a native teacher only, or somebody who is very playful, who uses music, games in class, and so on. So, that's nothing new. It's just new to us because we didn't have any insight on the back end of actually preparing the student and yourself for a trial class. The next kind of phase of prep before class is your classroom. Make sure to share it with your student before class time and think about how flexible you are. For example, some teacher friends are saying, "Oh, I have an interested student who wants to take a trial class, but they don't want to join me in Kuala Go. They are used to using Classin or any other platform, Zoom or any of them, and I don't know what to do." The best thing you can do is have them use your classroom from the get-go. I know it's easier to just follow the parents' expectation on the classroom as well, but that's not going to be what they will get each and every class, right? So the trial class has to include everything that they're going to get during any other class, like after that, the regular class. Plus, some parents only are familiar with one classroom, or they just want to go, to follow their habits, to go with what they have, and want you to adjust to, their resources and expectations. But this is a part that you have to take a lead with and make sure, most definitely ask them to join you in your classroom. And you can be flexible about class time, or even maybe uh, class duration, anything like that. But the classroom choice has to be yours because this is what you're offering, right? And they don't even know that you're maybe using like 100 times better platform with more interactivity and so on. And that's the same when it comes to the curriculum. Let me see if there are any additional comments. I don't see any comments on YouTube, so I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving anything out. And you let me know whenever you have any questions or a comment. So it would be super useful to hear your thoughts on this as well. Okay, let's see. I see only Facebook comments are popping out. I just want to make sure everything is okay. Okay, I'm guessing it's okay. So I don't want to, yeah, take away more time. Okay, if somebody watches the replay later, okay, somebody is asking, how do you, sorry, how do you cut down on prep time for child classes? By establishing clear steps you follow each and every time. Have everything set before the child class. Have the onboarding questionnaire. Have the classroom of your choice prepared. I mean, you probably have that already. Make sure the parents share at least something about a student so you could pick the right reward system or classroom background to adjust it. And also have at least 3 lessons from the curriculum you use, such as Abridge Academy, open before the class time. And we're getting to that right now. If you mean the prep time regarding the tech stuff or regarding curriculum, just let me know if you expected a more specific answer on that. But yeah, basically, for example, what I do, I have this all prepared in advance. Let's say I have a regular student, they say, my friend wants to have a child class with you. I say, great, they can reach out to me here. As soon as they reach out, I just share the onboarding questionnaire, thank them for reaching out, and ask them for the child class time. Once we agree on the time, I share the classroom link. I either add them on Classin or any classroom I use. I ask them about device in the onboarding questionnaire. So this single step of the onboarding questionnaire, sharing it with your students, is going to cut down on prep time a lot. After that, during the child class, you before that, actually, the last thing you have to do is to pick at least 3 lessons that you could expect any student could follow. So the first lesson should be something very basic, like phonics or greetings, or you just pick a level 1 or 0 of the curriculum you're using and go with some beginner unit of it. The second one should be a little bit more advanced with more reading stuff and just a little bit more challenging. And the third one should be like the top level lesson. So you can easily switch. If you see from the moment you say hello, you're going to see where your student is at least regarding speaking to begin with. Then you can prompt them to start reading and just make sure to pick the right lesson because this is very important. Just recently, I had a teacher friend saying, wow, the child class went super bad because the lesson was too easy or too hard for the student, and I just didn't manage on time. I didn't kind of assess the students' level or skills properly. So she was very upset because her own expectations were much higher from the child class, and she couldn't, meet the goals she set on herself from the child class. There is something that can help you a lot as well, and I wanted us to look into it. It's called Prior Knowledge Guide. It's an actual form with age and level specific expectations when it comes to ESL students, created by NovaKid, the company I currently work with as well, in addition to teaching online. So I will be more than happy to show you. It is super useful. It helped me a lot, even after teaching for years with ESL companies. I never had that kind of orientation, prior knowledge guide. It's super cool. It does reflect it. It does. It is connected to NovaKid curriculum, but you can actually create your own. And I'm going to be creating a template for you to use and compare those knowledge guides to any curriculum you're using. And I'm going to show you how it works, just to check if there are any more questions. Okay, good. So let's open it just to see which one it is. Okay, here we go. So this is called Prior Knowledge Guide, aimed to help the teachers understand how much a student needs to know in order to start at some entry point. And actually, it's super useful for child classes. Let's say you have your child class student called Elsa, and she is 3 or 4 years old. By default, you would expect the student to know nothing, right? But if they do, then you can follow on their actual and English skills and vocabulary and knowledge by either creating a little guide like this based on the curriculum you're using, or use this one. I'm going to create a similar one to be kind of even more universal. So you can see in this prior knowledge guide within NovaKid company, the student is placed into level 0, unit 1, just based on their age. And during class, you can scale up or down with the lesson if you see they actually know something. And then during the class, you actually follow. You ask them questions like to check their knowledge on color, shapes, basics. And this is how you move up and down the levels during the child class itself. If they are, for example, 5 years old, it's expected for them they can speak some English, but they can't blend. So these are the two things you have to make sure to recognize during the child class immediately, like from the get-go. As soon as you say hello, prompt your student and see if they can actually introduce themselves or not at all. If they have zero knowledge, then phonics lesson or a basic reading lesson, for example, from Abridge Academy Level 1, is going to be the perfect choice and good enough for the child class. If they're a little bit older, which you will already know before the child class based on the onboarding questionnaire, you will check their reading more. So if they can introduce themselves, say hello, tell their age, then you would want to check their reading level. Can they blend sounds or not? Do they have letter recognition? Or are they, if they're already a reader? If they can read, you can place them to, for example, Abridge Academy Level 5 toys, where you start having more reading content, or even Level 2, where the reading focus is even more emphasized, and so on. So you can actually check their grammar during the child class just to see if they have the basic sentence structure, and that will give you a great insight. So the goal of the child class is to assess the student, teach them a few words, like a few vocabulary words, focus on one sentence structure to improve. If they can speak in full sentences, your goal should be to at least elicit one sentence structure. It can be as simple as it's a ball, it's a doll, it's a star, right? Just one, because you want them to master it during the class. And that's what usually parents also expect. They expect the child class to show any kind of little progress or any kind of knowledge retention by the end of the class. It doesn't have to be about covering all 25 slides of the lesson, not at all. You can just stay on a single slide, during the whole class, drilling a few vocabulary words and one sentence structure. If the student has some prior knowledge with colors, you can just still work on the few key vocabulary words you targeted that you want to teach them, and use what they come with, be it they're familiar with colors or numbers, and just expand on that. Child class is not about going through the lesson from slide 1 to slide 30. It's about catching their weaknesses and their strengths and actually working with them during the trial class. Let me know what you think about this little prior knowledge guide. It gets, more in depth as you look into the levels. So, for example, level 1, unit 6, they are expected, but this is based on the curriculum itself. And you can actually use this when you take a look into, for example, Abridge Academy curriculum. You can see Katie has listed, let me show you, there are actually learning goals for every level, every unit. She even listed the vocabulary words, the sentence structure, everything. Let's check level 2, for example. My friends, as soon as I think it's here already. Yeah, it was here. Okay, so you see, every lesson actually has the learning goals, which I love. This is a curriculum of my choice because it makes it much easier on me. I'm a special educator and I'm not an English teacher by vocation. So I cannot expect from myself to know everything, like where they should be at in the curriculum or in their English level. So, for example, my friend, this A1 level lesson focuses on singular possessive adjectives: my, your, his, her, in the context of introducing a friend. Every lesson has these set goals, so you can actually copy paste, write down by levels. It doesn't have to be for every unit. What you can do is like Novacate did, just pick level one, unit one, and then, for example, because there are 6 units, 10 units, you can go to unit 5 or 6 and check what's expected there. So that's gonna make it much easier for you to place them and pick the right lesson during the even the trial class. Let me see. Okay, there is a comment from Angie. Hi, Angie. Oh, Emma said you can't see it. You couldn't see it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna share it again. Um, Angie says, "Do you think that parents should be present, involved in the child class?" Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about in a minute. I just want to make sure you could see the prior knowledge guide. I'm so sorry, I missed Emma's previous comments. She couldn't see. Can you see the prior knowledge guide now? Hi, Angie. So good to have you. Just let me know in the comments if you can see the PDF I opened. It's called Prior Knowledge Guide. I'm sharing my whole screen, so you should be able to. Oh my goodness, I haven't changed the tab. I'm so sorry. Okay, just bear with me a little bit. Okay, now you see it, right? Sorry, I forgot to switch the screen. Now it should be okay. Just let me know in the comments if you can see it now. I'm so sorry, I just forgot to switch the sharing tab. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry. So let me show you. It's so neat because it's very easy to, preview at any point. This is what NovaKid requires everybody to actually use and have open during the trial class to help us out, place the student better. But for you, it's more about to give you an overview of what you should and could expect from the student before trial class. So here you can see they have listed all the levels, and they usually go about it picking the first unit of the level and the middle unit of the level. So, for example, they have 12 units in each level, so they pick level 1, unit 1, then level 1, unit 7. Then level 1, unit 1, level 2, unit 1, level 2, unit 7, and so on. And I think it's super useful because you can actually get a more clear picture of what you can expect from the child class student. Even though if the parent says, okay, my student is super cool, they know everything, I just need someone, for conversation classes. This is usually a strategy many Chinese parents use to kind of um, put your prices a little bit lower when they say, oh, just conversation. I'm sure many of you have experienced that, because it should sound, they think it should sound like you don't have to prep for the classes, you can just chat with the student, but it's never the case, right? So here it is. Based on the age is the first thing they do to place the student. Then if it's older, they should either be familiar with some vocabulary only and speak a little bit. Then the reading part comes, which you can actually follow in most of the curriculum. I especially mention Abridge Academy because Katie's curriculum is leveled with, CERF standards. And these are some common and universal standards you can actually compare this prior knowledge guide with. And also CAT exam. Her lessons are also follow the CAT exam standards. So it's really good that it's standardized. It has clear structure and progress. And here you can see, for example, level 2 can speak in complete sentences, has good listening skills, understands, follows instructions, can read. So basically, not to repeat myself, sorry, we spent a little bit more time on this than planned, but basically, since you say Since the moment you say hello, you will know if your student can speak at all, can make simple sentences, and then you would just need to check their reading skills to make sure. If they are a total beginner, vocabulary, of course, and if they are a total beginner, then you would go with the level, the lowest level and the first unit, right? If they do have vocabulary bank, but they don't have a sentence structure, you can move them to a little bit more advanced level. But I highly recommend to always have at least 3 lessons open just before the class start. The basic, the more advanced one, including a little bit reading, and the advanced one to focus more on their conversation skills and grammar. I'm just going to scroll down to see what I was talking about. So everything here is listed. It does refer to their, curriculum, but it's very close to what I was showing you with, for example, a Bridge Academy, where you can have the whole list of, learning objectives per unit, per level, and you can just put them all in. I'm going to create a template like this, where you can actually fill in the level and the unit's expectation. Let me know what you think about it. Do you think it's useful? Let's see. I think Emma says this is super helpful. You're a star. Thank you. Thank you. Great tip about having 3 different levels open. Yeah, most definitely. Because we can get stuck, you have prepared everything. The parent said, "Oh, my student is amazing." I know it's you, Emma. Thank you. you know, you cannot rely on what the parent is saying before the child class. They love their child, but it doesn't mean that they are right about the student's level. So just in case, have a plan B, have a backup plan, and offer and open a few lessons so you can just switch the tabs or copy paste the link instantly. Okay, I'm so happy to hear that this prior knowledge guide looks useful to you. That's awesome. Let's go back to what Angie was asking. I didn't forget. We're gonna switch to it uh, very instantly. Okay, just have to mention props here. Whatever props you are using, they should be personalized. If you have your own preferences, like I wanted to show you my collection of props that are pretty much, let me see if I can make them bigger, universal for every class. So it's important that they should be age appropriate. I'm not sure if you can see the picture. Maybe it's a little bit small. It's okay. But I do have a little microphone to prompt the student to speak more. Sorry about this. It's not loading very well. Okay, now it's okay. So I do have a microphone. It's super helpful with younger learners. Like as soon as I say hi, I don't continue with the lesson unless I hear hi. And what you asked, Angie, about the parent being engaged, at first you just want to talk to the student. And later, like when you get a hello, when you get the student participating, I'm teaching a lot of child classes with Nova Kid right now. And there are parents that, sometimes come and say, "Oh, teacher, let me tell you, my student is 4 years old and they are going, don't go to school. This is their first class and blah, blah, blah." I just say, "Thank you, mommy. Hello." I just say, "Thanks, but I'm going to talk to her." So make sure you start to prompt the student to for conversation with you from the get-go. No parent involved to begin with, to get them involved at first. Later on, when you want them to apply what you have been teaching them during the child class, that's the perfect opportunity to actually include the parent. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So when it comes to props, make sure they're age appropriate. That's the basic, and top tip I have. Never, you don't need a microphone with older students, right? They're gonna think you're silly or you treat them as babies. But do have something based on the onboarding questionnaire or anything you found out about the student's interests. And okay, this is something we all know, and like we should be friendly, have flexible teaching style. If the student is a little bit quiet, it's okay to kind of scale down your teaching style, and I mean the energy level, to balance them. It doesn't mean they are not interested. Maybe they're just shy or quiet learner. And if they are super active, you should also kind of help them focus, right? But these are your personal teaching strategies, anyways. Okay, here is the whole flow. So these are the top tips I prepared for today, based on the trial class flow. And I wanted to compare them to goals of the trial class, of each phase of it, as you go. Let's imagine it's going to be a 25-minute trial class. As soon as you greet the student, of course, you have a smile, you're warm and welcoming. You do not continue, you don't go into teaching before you engage the student immediately, before they respond to whatever you're doing or saying. It could be a simple hi. You don't move into teaching the lesson itself before you greet each other properly, whichever level the student is at. It could be a wave, right? As simple as a wave, but to kind of make them and prompt them, elicit the response from them. This is super important, especially you see when the parent actually sees that the student is going to interact, they kind of back off a little bit and relax and let you do your job, right? And I do recommend communicating with the student, not the parent. If they do try, you just let them know, okay, mom, thank you. Now let's see how Elsa can say hello. Elsa, can you say hello? And just move to the student straight away. When it comes to so this is the first phase, and it will give you a lot of information about the class going forward. If they're able to say hello, their age, they introduce themselves, then you already have a clearer picture on which level or on which lesson of those three you have prepared you're going to go forward with. For example, what I do with child classes, I of course ask them hello. I use my microphone if they are younger to prompt them, or just repeat, if they can't speak anything. And I usually pick up the drawing tool right away to see if they can write their name, for example. So that usually gives me information, or to write their age if they know numbers, if they know letters. So just from the minute one, I can see what they're able to express, or what they know regarding English, be it vocabulary or just basically vocabulary and their speaking skills, to see if they have a basic sentence structure. Let me check the comments real briefly. Thanks for the info. I have to go. Okay, thank you, Angie, for tuning in. Yeah, we're going to stay about 10 minutes more, and don't worry, there will be a replay if you want to watch again after this. So greetings, then classroom tools. So try to connect the greetings part with prompting them and teaching them how to use the classroom tools. After saying hello, you can say, how are you today? And draw a smiley face, or draw a sad face, draw an angry face. Turn it into a game if they're little. If they're older and you're getting into conversation, that's good enough. You just can show them the tools, the interaction tools they have available, such as draw, type, drag and drop, and so on, just from the page one. We talked about the importance of picking the right lesson material, and just make sure to make it interactive during the class. Ask them to repeat, ask them to fill in or drag and drop. So draw a line, anything available within the lesson itself. You also have to prepare a little reward system. I mean, you don't have to, but it's really nice because it stays for them, it's very memorable. And just make sure it's age appropriate. And make sure to set the learning goals. So the child class goals are very different than a regular lesson goals, right? Within a regular lesson, you have to meet all the expectations from the lesson itself to kind of follow, finish up, or just circle them. in a way. But in a child class, the goal can be teaching them 2 to 3 words. Trust me, it's totally enough. Focus on one sentence structure or grammar point they struggle with. You will see from the get-go if they don't know how to use basic sentences. Just pick one and drill it during the class. And here is where you can apply what you teach with the parent, right? So here's, for example, if you are teaching them how to say, "How are you? I am fine." Then say, "Now ask mommy." Say, "Mom, how are you?" And she will follow. Parents love that, and only include them if it's to meet the learning goals and to demo, to show them that students actually is acquiring some knowledge. And of course, make the student smile. I think this is sometimes taken not very seriously as a child class expectation, but it should be like as important as teaching the student something, or meeting your learning goals with them, making them feel relaxed. Make the student smile at least one, no matter the age. That's like the best indicator for you to know you got them. After child class, just make sure to give feedback. There is another template you can use. Let's see if you can see the screen. I'm just going to switch quickly. Oh, hi, Allison. Thank you for tuning in. Don't worry, we started like almost an hour ago. So don't worry. If you want to watch the replay, it's going to be available for sure. We were just talking about like what to do after the child class, and I prepared a little template teachers can use. That's a full lesson feedback, and it's interactive. You can actually download it in SuperTeacher mini course for free, of course. You can send a message to the parent, list the areas of success that the students showed and their strengths, list the areas of improvements or their pain points and weaknesses, and suggest a learning plan right after their child class. So that's something you should do within like 24-hour window as soon as possible, so they actually get the lesson feedback, see the value, see how professional you are, and check the curriculum you offer, the class dynamics, and what you can offer as a goal met if they sign up with you. And at the end, you can list your class offer and the way to contact you after the child class to schedule or pay for regular classes. Okay, let me see. I think, oh, let me switch the screen. Yeah, Allison says, I will. I watch that too. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry. And let's see if there are any final tips. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's about it. Um, if you have any questions after watching the replay or anything, any suggestions, feel free to share them within the event link or reach out to me at any point. There will be a mini course created from today's session, and I will add the prior knowledge guide we talked about today that can be super helpful, and take away prep time for any child class. There will also be the replay along with the little templates I created. Okay, do you have any other questions or thoughts on this? Yeah, Angie said, thanks for the info. Yeah, I have to go. Sure. It was a full hour. We started a few minutes later, but yeah. Thank you. It was super interesting to hear what everyone's experience was with trial classes, and I hope we all learned something from each other today. Thank you. Thank you, Emma. Thanks. Okay, let's stop here. Let's wrap it up, and I will see you in a week or two with a new interesting topic to discuss.